to the field on Wednesday night in Bilbao. But let's talk about the injury news first.
Yeah, I mean, we don't obviously know the official news because the press conference isn't for another couple of days, but we know Dragoshin's definitely out. We know Kulusevski's definitely out. We know Scarlett's had surgery. We know Maddison is definitely going to be injured for this one with his ankle. Well, Timo Werner's got a hamstring injury. Papsar obviously is a doubt, but we haven't heard anything official. Hopefully he's okay, but he went off and went down the tunnel in the last game against Aston Villa on Friday night. And Lucas Bergvall is an interesting one. More and more rumours suggesting he's training.
Is there more today?
There's more rumours suggesting he's training with the team.
What are the rumours today?
He's doing shooting drills. He's looking good, apparently. But who really knows how true these are? It's just rumours. But, you know, there were rumours that he was in individual training. It turned out to be true. So there is now more and more rumours floating around that he's in training at the moment. I don't know if he's training with the team or not, but still, I think the likelihood is he's going to be out and injured. But you never know. There's still maybe a slight chance he can be involved.
Yeah, I've got a slight feeling he's going to be on the bench. I've got a slight feeling, and that'll be a major boost for the team as well. Imagine going into the last 20 minutes and bringing on Lucas Bergvall. That'll be something special. But look, let's get into this predicted lineup. 4-2-3-1 in goal is obviously going to be Vicario. He's done well in the Europa League. Obviously, poor performances in the league of late. Kinski's come in and done a good job. Kinski is obviously ineligible for the Europa League, and even if he wasn't, Vicario would be in goal. So, Big Vic.
Yeah, of course, and he has been good in Europa. I think people, talk about his recent form when it comes to the Premier League, and he's been really poor. But fair play to him. I think the Europa League has been great, and we know. I think against Man United he made his return, didn't he? That was his return game. He was pretty good in that game as well. So back in Big Vic to have a strong performance here.
Right back, we are going to look at Pedro Porro, fully rested on Friday night, and he has been incredible for us recently, and he could be the difference maker in this game with his ball playing ability. We've seen how important he's been for us in this Europa League run and throughout the course of the season. Pedro Porro, man, what a player.
Well, he's our most creative player now.
Yeah,
and that's the reality. So it's absolutely vital that he's on his game, because I think he's going to be our most crucial player when it comes to actually providing good quality delivery into that final third. I think that's Porro. He's the one you can rely on, and especially if we are going to have Solanke and Richarlison up front, which we'll talk about. If that is going to be the case, I think even more so you need that delivery from Porro. And as you say, in this Europa League run, he's been brilliant. I think he's had a really good end to the season, so he's a man on form.
Yeah, there's been a few suggestions that Porro could potentially play the 10 with Spence playing at right back.
He was asked about it. I mean, I think he said he has to keep all options open, but I guess he just wants to keep United guessing in terms of what exactly he's going to do. I don't know. I think for someone like Porro, he would have to maybe play I wouldn't say a 10, but maybe an 8. Or I don't know if he could be in the 10, but maybe if he just has him floating around. But I think if you play him if he was to play in midfield or right-sided number 8, and you just get him picking the ball up and then floating in that half space and getting him to cross it.
Pretty much what he does in his position anyway, as an inverted right back.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and he doesn't have to track all the way back to the fullback. So I mean, maybe, but obviously it's a big adjustment for a massive game, isn't it?
It is. I feel like right back will be the best course of action to play him, just so you can get those balls from deep. They've been so vital to us. I know Maddison ain't going to be on the other end of it, and that's what's kind of been such a difference maker in Maddison making those late runs in behind and Porro picking him out. But it's going to have to be someone else this time. So Porro right back, right centre back will obviously be Cuti Romero. He's obviously been so vital for us in these 2 legs over Frankfurt and Bodo as well. And he's the one that has been there, done it, got the trophies. So he's going to have to guide a lot of these players through.
Yeah, and I think he's really stepped up in this Europa League run. I think if he's leaving or not, I think he definitely is trying all his utmost to leave with a trophy in the bag. And I think obviously that experience of how he's performed in these big tournaments, big finals, will definitely stand him in good stead here. And I think in the lead up to it, he's shown how good he can be and how good he is. And that's something we haven't seen enough for any Tottenham fans' liking. But he's definitely showing it in this Europa League run, and I think he's been fantastic. And I think hopefully when he looks at Højlund, he should be licking his lips.
Yeah, absolutely. Romero at centre back. Left centre back is obviously going to be the great Mickey van de Ven. He's kept him completely on ice since his return from injury, and let's hope it stands him in good stead for Wednesday night.
Yeah, and I think that partnership with Romero van de Ven has really come together again. We know that they've developed such a good understanding with each other, and I think hopefully the runs in behind aren't going to be used too much in this game. I do think where he could get his rule work really cut out is potentially with Diallo coming on that side. He's got to make sure Diallo's not influencing the game, and he's matching him stride for stride. But I'm kind of confident he can shut that door.
So that's obviously a back pairing of Romero and Van de Ven. At left back, it will be Destiny Udogie, who's also been absolutely brilliant. These four players as a back line together have been sensational since returning for the Europa League run, and let's hope for more of the same.
Yeah, as a unit, they've been fantastic, and I think that has been the real thing, because I think it's not been scintillating football that's taken us through. I think obviously we've played quite well at times, but it hasn't been like the unbelievable one-touch football or clinical finishing that's kind of taken us where we are. It's that back line being as good as they've been. That is what's been the deal breaker, and I think, Doggy is not he's been brilliant as well. He's been fantastic. He's obviously ousted Spence out of that left back spot fair and square, and obviously we mentioned Diallo before. He's going to be up against him. We know that a Doggy, when he's at his best in this kind of form like he's playing now, he can pocket some of the best wingers in the league, and he's going to have to do the same against Diallo, because he's obviously Bruno's a big threat, but he's one of their main threats as well, because we know how good he can be. What
I've been really impressed with the Doggy is his ability just to bulldoze his way through there, use his brute physicality, get to the byline, and just create carnage in the opposition box as well. And I think he's been doing that so well recently. Moving into the midfield, looking at the double pivot, the first player we're going to talk about is Rodrigo Bentancur. Again, this Europa League run, I think he's been fantastic. There's been a lot of claims against Bentancur this year, including from myself, saying in the big games he hasn't shown up. But more recently, in the big games against Frankfurt and against Bodo, I think he's been spectacular.
Yeah, and another experienced player who's seemed to finding his best form at the moment. And we know in this kind of game, they're going to have probably a double pivot, most likely of Casemiro and Ugarte. And Bentancur's, they're a very physical midfield pairing. And also when you got Bruno there floating around, looking to pick up difficult spaces for you, I think Bentancur is going to be so vital when in terms of his positioning and how he's been playing, getting to those levels, making sure we're dominating that middle of the park, because I think that's an area they back themselves. That's the one area I think United look at and think maybe we have the advantage. I think so. Bentancur is going to have to be so vital there.
And alongside Bentancur, it will be Yves Bissouma, favoured obviously in the two legs against Bodo. And I think these guys provide some really good protection for that back line, which is going to be needed with the likes of Bruno and Ahmad in the team that can hurt any team. And look, I've been one that has been a massive critic of Bissouma for a while now. But I think since coming in against Bodo, he's done himself, a bit of glimmer of hope potentially to his Spurs career. But I still think, look, let's just see if he performs in this game. But he's definitely going to play.
Yeah, it's coming from the cold, and I do think this is a player that we do know there's a player in Bissouma when he's at his best, when he's in a confident mood. There's a very, very good central midfielder in there, and obviously we really like last season, when at the beginning of the season, where we've seen just in flashes at Tottenham how good he can be. The big frustration is, it seems to be only when he wants to turn up, he kind of turns up. And I think that's been the big frustration, getting a consistent level of good performance out of him. But maybe these big games, when he's been called upon, he's kind of just made sure he's switched on. He's concentrating. And when he's doing that, he's a phenomenal player. He really can be. And he's a player that was one of the most sought-after midfielders when we signed him. Yeah. There was a reason for that. So I think for a final, I know there have been some big games where he's let us down, but I think for a final, I think if he's as switched on as he has been, like he has in the semis and the quarters, I think it's going to be hopefully another good performance from Yves.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so anyway, because it's very hit and miss with Bissouma which way it's going to go. But I'm just hoping he has that kind of air of professionalism that he had in the Bodo, two legs against Bodo. On the right-hand side of the attack, we are going to go for Brennan Johnson. And, a lot of people saying, oh, Brennan shouldn't start. Brennan's not playing too well. He hasn't played well all season. But for me, when you look at Brennan Johnson, when you look at the job he's done this season, these kind of assets can be invaluable in a final. Putting the ball in the back of the net, arriving at the right time in the box, being at the right place at the right time. And in a final, you just need to put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what Brennan Johnson does.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that for this kind of fixture, I think maybe you just need someone right place, right time at that back post, always make that runs. And that's kind of can be invaluable, especially in these big games. Someone who kind of has a knack for knowing where to be, and not just the knack, the timing. He's been working on it for so long. He's our top goal scorer, and he might not be involved in a lot of the game, but he will pop up hopefully when we need him. And if it's not working, you've always got players like Odegaard and Tell to come on if need be. But I think we should start him. He's obviously scored against Bodo, and I think in the away game you saw how disciplined he was defensively. And we're going to need that kind of Brennan Johnson again in this game. And I think when you've got him and you've got Solanke, Richarlison, and whatever, you just need to if you put as many crosses in the box as possible, then you've got a really good chance of scoring.
Yeah. Left-hand side of the attack, we are going to go for our captain, our talisman, Son Heung-min. And Sonny, you know what? He hasn't been performing great recently, but I felt like, he had a bit of a different element about him in the first half against Aston Villa. He showed a good turn of pace. Probably could have had a goal as well. Was definitely our best outlet, and I think we're going to need him in that form for the game against Manchester United.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he was looking a lot quicker, a bit sharper in that first half. And obviously he's our captain. It's such a big game. He's saying he's been basically gearing up for this game. Like he's been trying so hard to be fit for this game.
Yeah.
And I think we saw flashes of it against Villa, and I think I saw enough in that performance to suggest he needs to be on that left-hand side, and he's going to really, be at his best. And hasn't been a great season for him, just like for a lot of the players, but could have an amazing finish. And I'm just imagine Sonny lifting that trophy on Wednesday. What a special moment that would be. And I think if he can be involved scoring the winner, assisting, whatever it is, how amazing that. I think he can do it. And I think Tell and Odegaard and more, unfortunately, they just haven't really done it. And so I think Son has to start.
Yeah, agreed. And he's the reality is he's still got the most amount of quality in this squad. He is the one that can make the real difference, in my opinion. And the way he's coming into it, saying this is literally the biggest day of his life, biggest day of his career. Let's hope he plays like it, and I believe he will do. Moving into the two positions now, the 10 and the 9. So in the 10, we are going to go for Dominic Solanke. I don't think it's going to be maybe a natural 10. I think maybe they'll be a bit closer to each other than maybe our 10s usually are. But
9.5.
Yeah. So I think Solanke, I think he'll just provide that physical edge. And when you're talking about trying to go for Man United and trying to press them, I think to have players like Solanke and Richarlison in the same team, I think could be a bit invaluable to us.
Yeah, I agree. And I think having that kind of player who can protect the ball, shield the ball, bring other players into play, but also can get into the box, can provide an aerial threat. I think also a player who works as hard as he does the hard yards. You got no kind of doubt he's going to do the job and put his foot in when need be. Also from set pieces, how valuable that could be, because we heard Alice say they're not great from set pieces. Having that aerial threat there is going to be very, very valuable. So obviously Solanke has to start, but we're going him just to be a tiny bit deeper than Richarlison, just because he's better in those kind of areas.
And then to make up that final 11 for Wednesday in Bilbao, we are going to go for Richarlison up top. And like I mentioned before with Solanke, I did give you a bit of a teaser saying Richarlison as well. But look, with Richarlison, whatever you want to say about him, he as well knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, although he might need a few chances to do that.
Yeah, but he's been scoring a few goals recently, looking threatening. I think he's been looking quite good in the last few weeks. And he's just also the type of player in this kind of scenario you could step up, put his head where it hurts, and get that moment, find a moment. He's obviously good in the air. We know he's a fox in the box. He just sniffs out opportunities. And I think that dual threat of Solanke and Richarlison, especially when you're thinking set pieces, that could be a real avenue of where we can hurt Man United. And I've just got this feeling if Richarlison is going to be leaving, could he be leaving having scored the winner in a Europa League final?
That would be
what
quite
I mean?
something.
I kind of feel that. I kind of feel that might happen.
I got a feeling.
Yeah, I got a feeling it's going to be Richie scoring the winner.
I think you should put money on that.
I'm going to put money on. Sometimes you get these feelings, you know.
So this is our predicted lineup going into the Europa League final. Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Destiny Adogi left back, Mickey van der Ven and Kuti Romero as a back two, Bentancur and Basuma in the double pivot, Brennan Johnson on the right wing, Son Heung-min on the left wing with Solanke and Richarlison up top, with Solanke just a bit deeper. I'm going for 1-0 to Spurs. Sim is going for 3-1 to Spurs. No negativity, guys. No talk of Ange. No talk of this. No talk of that. It's time to be together. It's time to go to this final as one. And it's time to bring home that trophy, guys. But that is our predicted lineup. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Richarlison and Solanke should be starting in the same team together? Or do you feel like it could be someone else in the 10? Do let us know in the comment section below.